Welcome back, guys. We're in Hangzhou and this is the very famous West Lake. Probably no place in China is more known and renowned for its classical beauty than this place here. So today I'm going to take you on a whole lap of the lake, and it's a big lake as well. So it's going to take a while, but there's plenty of things built around the lake. Temples, pagodas, lots of famous views. So there's lots to see. We're going to start with one of the most famous things on the lake, which is the Leifeng Pagoda. So it's so new, it's got lifts in it. Well, let's go and have a look, shall we? So the pagoda that you see now overlooking the lake is actually brand new. It's built in 2002. The real history is underneath it. And these are the ruins of the old Leifeng Pagoda, which dates back to 971. It collapsed in 1924. So also, according to the legend, this is where the monk Fahai imprisoned Madam Whitesnake. If you remember, I did talk about that story a few videos back in the city of Zhenjiang. By the view from here, you can see this long causeway. It's 2.5 kilometers long. We're going to walk up that in a moment all the way to the other side and then over to the pagoda, which is way in the distance. This huge causeway that cuts right across the lake is called the Su Causeway. It's named after Su Dongpo, who was a very famous Song Dynasty poet, but also was the governor of Hangzhou for a while, and regarded as a good governor. And during his time, he fixed up the lake, and during the dredging process, which was a constant battle here in West Lake, they mounded up all the mud and gunk from the bottom of the lake and built this causeway across it, which is now a very nice place to walk. So this is Gushan. It's one of the islands on the lake, and we're looking for a pagoda, obviously. I came to Hangzhou a long time ago and did come to West Lake. Never came here though, it's such a beautiful spot. So it's not an old pagoda this, it's a Sutra pagoda, and it was built in 1924. I'm going to add it to the list though, because the location and the setting is so beautiful. I'm making up the criteria as I go along for this pagoda list. Can you see that? Also, it is in the big book of pagodas, which is my new Bible, obviously. So therefore, yeah, it makes the cut. Right, we're going to continue on around the lake. We're well over halfway around the lake at this point, doing pretty well. There's been a pagoda here since the 10th century, which has been knocked down, rebuilt, many times. The one we see today was actually built in the Republic of China era, 1930s, and it's kind of ugly, right? It looks a bit like the Tower of Isengard. Despite my own personal taste about and feelings about this tower, however, it is, along with Leifeng Pagoda, they are together these two very important symbols of West Lake and the West Lake scenery. It's a very dull, dark day, but I'm not sure you can make it out in the distance. Right in front of us is Leifeng Pagoda, near where we started the video. We started just over here and walked around over the causeway, the Su Causeway over here, and then across here in front of us, this is the Bai Causeway. Then up to the top. Alright, more of Hangzhou's hidden ancient history coming up.
Well, these two are well off the tourist trail. This used to be the site of a very important temple, long lost, but these sutra pagodas survive, and they are old, built in 965 during the Northern Song dynasty, and now they are just in the middle of some people's homes. Nice.
So we're going to head into the mountains just to the west of Westlake, which historically and even today have been the big centre of Buddhism in China, and still some of the largest and most important Buddhist temples in China are there. Let's go and have a look.
The Jiakou White Pagoda was closed, unfortunately. Built during the 900s, it does look pretty damn nice though, and there are several pagodas in Hangzhou of an almost identical style and age. Pretty cool and really ancient.
That's a nice big old train. Beautiful. Love old trains. Since I was a kid I've loved old trains. Anyway, shame that pagoda wasn't really open. However, we're going to keep going because probably the most famous and iconic pagoda in the surrounding area of Hangzhou is just a little bit down the river. So we'll walk down there, have a look at it. It's a beauty. And then after that we're going to go and see what's in these mountains. Old stone carvings in the rocks, old temples. It's going to be great. Let's go. Quite excited about this one. Super famous.
This has to be high on my list of favourites. This is a fantastic building and strangely very quiet when I visited. The pagoda structure dates to the Southern Song dynasty in the year 1164 and is 60 metres high. The wooden outer structure is a much later addition, however. And guess what? We can climb it.
We're quite looking forward to this. There's a lot of history in this building. There's been a pagoda here for, well, since the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period, 900s. What we see now is a combination of a Song dynasty building and with lots and lots of further adaptations. So this whole wooden structure around the pagoda is much later. It's built in the Qing dynasty. The actual interior part of the pagoda is Southern Song dynasty from the mid 1100s. It's really full of art, this pagoda. Yeah, it's quite spectacular inside.
The interior of the pagoda is full of art. I spent a long time here exploring each and every floor, and this is by far my favourite historical site in Hangzhou. Just make the trip, it's great.
So vast inside this pagoda, really. Most ancient pagodas are kind of tight and narrow. You can barely move, it's so huge. This is the mighty Jiantang River. It's the last of the 5 rivers that the Beijing-Hangzhou Grand Canal connects to the end point. So from the Hai River in Tianjin, the Yellow River, the Huai River, the Great Yangtze River, and here. That's what the canal did. It connected up all these big river systems to allow trade and food and things to easily move between north and south in China. Up at the top, it's 60 meters high, this pagoda, which is a pretty big one, There are a couple of ancient pagodas that are in the 70s and one in the 80 meters, but as far as old pagodas go, this is pretty big. What a building that is. There's a guy in there, in the ancient wooden building, smoking a cigarette. What an idiot, man. The guard shouted at him, though. There was a guard in there, luckily. Some people shouldn't be allowed out, man, I'm telling you. It's too many thick twats in the world. So next stop is in these mountains somewhere. There's a very famous temple called Lingyan Temple. I'm gonna go in there and have a look. I'm not sure how to get there. We'll figure it out. It's a pretty cool spot. There are carvings and Buddhist grottos and caves here, starting from the Tang Dynasty, you know, talking like 800, year 800 roughly, all the way through Imperial Chinese history. Pretty cool stuff. So this is the Ming Dynasty pagoda, but it contains the remains of an Indian monk whose Chinese name is Huili, who was the supposed founder of the Lingyan Temple way back in like 300 and something. It's quite cool places. There are hundreds and hundreds of carved sculptures into the side of the cliff. The temple, by the way, I mean, historically it's one of the most famous, wealthiest and largest temples in China. But it's, you know, it's a bunch of new stuff that I'm not really that bothered about seeing. The caves though, definitely. These trees are absolutely wild. A lot of heads missing, as is often the case with Buddhist grottos. This is wild.
Feilai Peak is a little bit deeper into the mountains near the famous Lingyan Temple. This place is full of grottos and caves, many of which can be entered, and they are a treasure trove of Buddhist art. The carvings were done over a long period of time, with the oldest dating to the Tang Dynasty about 1200 years ago, all the way through to the 14th century Ming Dynasty. The damp, dripping, stalactite-filled caves are full of mystery. This place is a great spot to spend an hour or so.
So everyone else is just walking past this. However, the real treasure, as far as I'm concerned, are the twin stone pagodas, which are from 969. The rest of the temple is actually new, but these are the oldest things here. Beautiful.
Well, despite everyone walking past them, these pagodas, or perhaps pillars, are amongst the oldest things in Hangzhou. Built in the 960s, they are some of the finest examples of wood imitation stone-built towers anywhere in the country.
Man, I've really racked up the pagoda count in Hangzhou though, yeah? How many is that? 8 or 9? I don't know.
One last bonus is the Longxing Temple Sutra pillar. It's in a box in the middle of Hangzhou, and I guess it's not very well known. It dates to the Tang Dynasty, however, in 837, and this date makes this rather unassuming object basically the oldest thing in Hangzhou. I love these random bits of history you can find in China.
Alright guys, and here where the Grand Canal runs right through the middle of Hangzhou city is where we'll finish this video and finish this journey, in fact, because that's it. From Beijing all the way to Hangzhou, seen some pretty cool places. It's a good journey. There's a lot to see and a lot of places I had to skip, you know, for time constraints and things. Nevertheless, good time was had. So until next time, take care, stay safe, and bye bye.